welcome to everyone. We've got a fairly good crowd here today, and it's growing. So over 70 now. We'll launch straight into all the AMA questions. We're going to try and do one of these AMAs once a month, just to allow us to, I guess, be a bit more broadly communicating with the group and to answer those burning questions. So those burning questions today, we'll start and roll through them. And our format here is that I'll just read the questions and then one of the team will answer those. Look, we don't want to get too drawn into responses in chat because we'll probably only get through 3 questions
Blow
if
the
we do
time
that.
out.
So,
Yeah.
look, I think if there's something that comes up in chat that's worthwhile sharing with people, we'll jump into it. But if it's just a question about the question, and yeah, we'll assess it, I guess, as we go along. So, question number 1 from Matthew. My questions all relate to testing. Could you explain Playable's approach to testing? What cycles do you run? What tooling do you use? Do you use an automated test framework for rinse and repeat testing? If not, do you have a plan to acquire one? How do you ensure quality in testing to release as many defects as possible going into live for each patch? What checks are in place at a go, no-go? Thanks.
So we, like the Web3 team, we have unit tests through all of our smart contracts and do real world simulations. So we basically make sure all the code that we write runs exactly as expected. And basically with all of the smart contracts, we deploy those to testing environments and run full simulations to make sure that they work completely as expected. That's pretty much
but they don't, do they?
I mean, that's
no, they don't.
That's
They start off in the simulations working the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they hit the real world, there are things that come up that just were never expected, and with the Web3 stuff, it's not always on our end either. Sometimes we launch into a live, and it's something AVAX has done, or it's something that Certec missed, or it can be like there's just so many elements to that. I think that question was actually
the question's very much about
more
the patches
gaming as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you're right, Froggy. You guys do actually test, which is nice. So Nicholas, maybe you can talk about the gaming side.
Sure. Yeah, we are still building out the testing. We haven't quite gotten to that yet because we've been, hiring new team members, getting new teams on board, and just trying to get the whole production pipeline worked out. So we are definitely looking at getting that automated testing and more pieces in place. We don't have it at that moment, but yes, that's coming in the future.
So it's been very much to this point in time. It's been very much an internal test model, which you're trying to formalize and make a little more structured. Correct?
Right. Like with the Nexus release that just came out, we know people were really clamoring to get new content out, so we were trying to move that forward quickly. And we've done some internal testing, but certainly it's a little bit rushed because we know people were waiting for it. But definitely we're going to be making that more robust in the future.
Well, I think that's really worth like acknowledging. Do we have an acknowledgeable? That there's this absolute tug of war going on all the time. When are you going to release the game? When are you going to release the game? When are you going to release the game? It's taking too long. You guys are fucking slow. You're a bunch of shit developers. You haven't released a game. It's been 3 months, blah, blah. And then we're trying to test. It takes time to test. We need to make sure. No, I want the fucking game. I want the fucking game. So we release the game when we think it's close enough to good. And then everyone says, the game's fucking shit. The game's fucking shit. You didn't do any testing. So it's like this constant tug of war in game dev where we're trying to get that balance right. As we get further into this and we get teams built out that are much more just on one game. Remember, we tried to go to that point where Glinda was going to do all the games for us, and Glinda was going to build out an 80-person team to build 3 games at once for us. Well, we saw what happened there with a team just deciding to walk out. Then we got stuck, and we had to suddenly pivot and make some changes. And Nicholas has been brought in for one reason only, to manage those teams. That's what his full-time job is. When he wakes up in the morning, he's into stand-ups with dev teams around the world. So we've now got, Nicholas, maybe you should explain how many dev teams we've got and what we're building out. And
before you
we've
do
got
that, can I just add to it?
Sure.
Can I add to what you said, John? It is a catch-22.
Sure.
People want the updates. They want the game, and they want it now. So our view has been we're better off not holding that up by doing a month or two of QA, do a few weeks of QA, get it out there, and then deal with it through updates. Now, you could argue that's not the right approach, but other people would say, well, that's the better approach because we get the game in our hands. We're able to have input, because don't forget that we're interested in our community's thoughts. So, we don't sit back here thinking that we know everything and that we are the people who will determine what's in the game. We are looking for feedback. So by releasing it, even if it isn't 100% correct, we get feedback, and that's important to us.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of game
And
development now, is that it's not finalize it and release. It's release and release new pieces and new pieces. This was the first one of the new team, and it's, of the whole change that we've done over the past couple months, and we knew it's been a couple months. We want to get this out quick, but yeah, we're definitely going to keep improving that process. This is just the start.
Well, we are agile.
We should move on to the next. We should move on to the next question, guys, because we'll get caught up.
Okay.
Ricardo's got 3 questions in one. So please, could you give us updates on all games in development, including Dogs of War, Steel, the Metaverse game, and any additional games for next year? Please, could you explain more about the concept of shared nodes? Are they a reality? Are they under development? Should they be a priority now? And talking about nodes, could you please give us an update on when phase 2 will likely be implemented? And just a little sort of a fourth question, how are you coping with the negative feedback on Nexus updates? Young gamers can be brutal. Well, let's get that one out of the way right now. We expected feedback. Yes, it's going to be negative, as just explained in the previous question, when things aren't perfect. And any change
when they are
where you're
perfect.
taking something. Yeah, true. Any change in life or in gaming, there are going to be people who don't like it. And once again, as I just stated, we never thought there was going to be perfect. There was always tuning required on guns and recoil and, a lot of other issues that will need tweaking. So, we just need patience around that. And yeah, we accept that young gamers can be very brutal, and we just deal with it. So
well, as for all, the games update, obviously we've got a team on Nexus, but we're even increasing that team to get the patches out and the next pieces out a little bit quicker. We have a great development team on Ordinum, so hopefully in a month and a half time, we're going to have that out. And we also have a new lead artist coming on to improve that. We also have Dogs of War. It's got a great developer, Stephen Bishop, who's been creating the core of that. And we've got another great lead artist, Chad Max, who's going to be joining us this coming Monday. So we're building out that team, and hopefully, what are we shooting for, an alpha release by the end of the year. And Starving Martian, we also have a new lead developer starting Monday also on that team too.
War of Steel.
So
John, you might want to add that one.
Yeah, so War of Steel, we're in negotiations with the team at the moment. It's still in the final part of that negotiations. We're not quite right on money. So we're just trying to get that sharpened, as Mickey would say. We want that pencil sharpened a little bit more. Once that's done, we're very close, and the team looks like they're capable and adequate to do the job more than. We'll explain
large team too.
Yeah, large team. So out of Sydney, Australia. So, and very experienced. So launched multiple games. And that's what we're looking for external teams now. If they haven't launched multiple games, we're not interested in those teams. So they've got to have been involved. So that's looking very good. And that all the dates for release and stuff for that are still intact. So with what the work we've already had done with the new team taking over, that's all going to roll out, we believe, in time for just after the halving for the bits and pieces. When I say just after the halving, it's not next week, but in the next few months.
And the
So we'll get to
and the
a closed alpha.
metaverse.
Metaverse is on hold at the moment purely because the first stage that we were working on is not sort of needed right now. So while we get the other pieces in place, I'm just pausing that. So until
Additional
we get these
games for next year.
additional games.
Any additional games for next year? Anything
Yeah,
on
we
the
have
drawing board?
We've got an RTS.
we have a couple ideas, right?
Yeah, we've got an RTS on the drawing board, and we've got a Clash of Clans type game on the drawing board. Both of those are in ideas stage at the moment, and the teams aren't in place. So right now, let's just focus on the 6 games we're building, and
Right.
when those 6 are out and going, we'll once we've got them to closed alpha, that's where we start to look at where we're going to go the next step. But like, just remember, everyone, our goal here is really simple. We're trying to get the 3 games out each year, like into closed alpha position each year. So 3 games each year to closed alpha. So people can see us moving forward. We're trying to do the one thing that most people aren't doing, which is actually delivering. So we're trying to be the one team out there that doesn't just talk the talk. And a lot of people get confused. It's very easy, and Ben can speak to this because that's his expertise. It's very easy to hire a 3D art team to build a trailer and then write a trailer and release the trailer, and the trailer costs 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand. And then it looks like this amazing game is almost finished, but they haven't even started. It's just the ideas put into an artistic form. So a lot of the stuff people see out in the Web3 world about, oh, this game's coming. When I looked at the Shrapnel trailer and then I looked at the Shrapnel game, I was like, really? That's the game after that trailer? That's what they've done? So, like, you know, there's a discrepancy there between what's real and what's coming. So we're trying to be much more on the what is coming. Right.
Cool. Froggy or Jordan, can you answer the question of shared nodes and any updates around them?
100%. So we are developing them at the moment. I know that'll interest the bad guys quite a lot. And there's a few representatives here at the moment, but yeah, so it's in the pipeline. We are developing it. It's not top of the priority, but it is certainly something we're pushing for, mostly because we want to make sure that nodes are accessible to a wider audience as we can. But yeah, so we're expecting to have that probably this half of the year. It's not too far off.
Okay. While you're up, you probably could answer the next question, but I'm going to read the following question because it sort of ties in a little bit to it. From Merly, which is my question, concerns the software that the nodes will have to run. Is it already ready or in development, and how does it work? Speaking of games, do you prefer to buy an almost ready game and develop it, or after these first games, do you think it's better to develop them from scratch? So we'll park that question. We'll come back to that one if you can answer the ones around the nodes, which is, an update on when phase 2 will likely be implemented, plus the software.
So phase 2 and the software go hand in hand. It is in development. We've had a few proof of concepts come across, nothing that we've been entirely happy with. So we're aiming to basically build out a full solution this half of the year. That is top of the priority now. That has been shifted basically above all else in terms of Web3. What we don't want to do is what a lot of other node projects do, and that's create fake nodes. We don't want just a centralized pinging system that says, hey, I'm online. We actually want to give it some meat behind it, so it actually contributes to a decentralized network. And that's what a lot of the node software that it's out there doesn't do. It connects to some central server and reports that they're online or does something really rudimentary. So we're working with Ava Labs and GoGoPool on that aspect and trying to make something truly special for the gaming space, but it's not something that can be done overnight. So we're hoping to get the first version out this half of the year. And as I said, top of the priority, like we're pushing really hard on that.
Cool. I can probably answer that last part of speaking of games. Do you prefer to buy an almost ready game and develop it, or after these first games, do you think it's better to develop from scratch, given the difficulties in recreating the game code? Spaghetti code. You probably know what that is, Froggy, but I don't. Yeah, look, I think we're interested in both, to be honest. The challenge has been that when people come to us with a game, most of the time, it's not an almost ready game. It's a concept. And they've made statements about it being an almost ready game. And then when we lift the hood and have a look, we realise that, it's a cobbled together group of guys who have done some work for a few months and with boxes of pizzas and beer
It
surrounding
might have been a
them.
few
And
years, but
yeah, it could have been a few years, you're right.
Sometimes people confuse a few years with actually having a good game. Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, that is very much part of Nick's mandate as well, because our challenge in assessing these games is that if they aren't built correctly and the code isn't built correctly, well, they're almost impossible to build upon. And we all know that most developers think every other developer's code is crap and want to rewrite it. So, I guess that's how we've ended up. Yeah, I guess that's how we've ended up in this place where we are building games from scratch. And that way we know what we've got. And we can also build a game that we can build upon, that we can build with a solid framework and a architecture, a coding architecture that works and is expandable and upgradable without all the drama that comes with poorly written game code and the upgrades around that. Have I explained that okay, Nick?
Yeah, I've done both myself, and I agree. The templates are nice; they get you somewhere quick, but there's a learning curve versus building it from scratch. It takes a longer development time. It's about 50-50. I personally think that if you have a good team that's going to be on it, that they're building their code, they know it intimately, and that's a little bit stronger. And then what I'm doing with the games now is that the Unity team is sharing code with Unity team. So we're building certain pieces that, like the connectivities to the multiplayer in the back end. You don't have to build that twice or three times. The first team's going to build it and share it. Same thing with the Unreal guys. Same thing. We're building modules that we can reuse. So in this atmosphere where we have a lot of games, we can share our own code because it connects to our back end a certain way, and we have that all set. So I think in this, well, even with the template games, we're still building those pieces out and reusing them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just to add to that, any developers who are on this AMA or know developers on the AMA who do have a almost ready game that is legitimately almost ready, more than happy to look at it. We'll always look at these opportunities and see what they offer us. Next question.
Well, that's where
are
we want.
developing?
That's where we. Sorry, that's where we want to be. We would love to have someone, who's got a great game. Like obviously, the whole point of Playable is to fund developers. It was never meant to be build our own games from internal. It was supposed to be find great ideas and give those teams money. The trouble was we got caught where there was this discrepancy between a business model and an actual great idea. So we've had to massage that a bit to get this to a working business where we're actually making money out of it. So, and that's got to be our goal. This has to be a profitable business. It's not just good enough to just burn money to achieve something. We've got to actually follow the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure whether the next one is more a Froggy question or an old bull question. Are you developing a way to make the Web3 world easier for less capable people, such as purchasing tokens via credit card, facilitating access to the app, interacting less with the wallet, buying assets, etc.? Are you thinking of developing a page like EIPs, Ethereum Improvement Proposals, but dedicated to games and gamers, where verified players can propose improvements and vote for others?
The first section's a Froggy
Probably answer
question.
both of those.
Yeah. Cool.
With the EIPs or the improvement protocols, we've already developed a draft, more of a developer-focused version of like a playable community proposals, which is targeted towards more of the Web3 side of things. So a good example of where that would have been useful is where BAG were looking at, shared nodes. They could have actually written up a full proposal that we could have reviewed and then looked at how we could implement that into our pipeline. So that is already in draft. With respect to the games, it's probably we can do it. Whether that's more of probably an old bull question, whether they want to or how they want to handle that. But yeah, I mean we've got the playable community proposals in draft, not public yet for Web3 stuff, but we can see where that goes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You could
I
obviously
think,
answer that question about you go.
I think, obviously everything we can do to speed up the learning curve to get into Web3, we're doing. Froggy and Jordan spend a lot of time looking at that and trying to work out. We've got credit cards coming, so you're going to be able to purchase Bull straight on credit card. That's in the process. It's been in the process for a year. We've had two distinct companies work with us and then pull the pin in the end, and not because of anything anyone's done. They've just gone out of business, or they just the technology was blocked by the American government, or there's all sorts of stuff going on in the background. So the space is evolving. That's not, in a lot of ways, it's not really our purview. I mean, that's really Cardano and those sort of companies. They're the ones that are really working on how to shave the complexity out of Web3, because it is complex, and obviously self-custody is a terribly complex thing, and everyone loves Web3 until they've got some money to store, and the second you've got some money to store, it suddenly becomes really scary. Froggy and Jordan spent a lot of time making sure that those protocols were all in place to make sure everything was protected. And it is complex, and sometimes making complex easy is not easy. So you've got to just got to accept what it is, and we're a gaming company. We're not Cardano, who's actually trying to make it really simple. So there's a distinction there. So yes, what we can do,
we've
we'll
got a
do.
number of things. We've got a few things in development at the moment to make it easier. So when you're in game, you don't have to jump out of the game and connect your wallet. And that's kind of the first stage of that, is making it so everything links together seamlessly between multiple games, the DApp. Then phase 2 is going to be removing that barrier of the wallet. That's the biggest thing, is obviously, as you say, self-custody is complex. We don't want to remove self-custody. We always want you guys to own your assets and own your in-game items. We don't want to hold custody of those at any point if we don't have to. And so everything that we're developing now is following that same kind of ethos, but it isn't simple. And so we are working on it. Phase 1 will be probably the best start, which will be the credit cards, which are not far off now, providing we don't have compliance issues and banking issues. And then as a part of that, we're going to remove that kind of in-game disconnect between the wallets and requiring to jump in and out and all of that. Then we'll go.
Can I just say there, credit cards is a perfect example of oh my God, if this could just be done on credit card, it would make life so much easier. And that statement is true. And what the person who asked that question forgets is that the people that own the credit cards, the last thing they want is people getting easy access to crypto, because crypto is going to steal the credit card business. So it's like they have blocked every single way for us to get into it, and slowly but surely countries like Mexico and other countries are starting to to sort of say, well, hey, maybe we could help this get facilitated because, it's but now that BlackRock's come into the game and the big companies are actually accepting that crypto is going to be a player in the world, this will open up much more. But it has definitely been, over the year we've been working on this, it's definitely been not a simple thing. It's been really, it looked like it was going to be really easy. We got promised early on it was going to be really simple for us to do. And then each time we got close, it didn't come through. So
Yeah, I think
Well,
the
we
reality is
actually
that
had
the
it
credit.
fully set up, and for one of the first companies, we were basically a week away from launching credit cards, and
Yep.
then the company
Yep.
that was facilitating the payments said, "Oh, we're not doing credit card payments anymore." So
Yeah,
and
look, I mean, there's
we
there's
obviously
probably
don't want to release something and have it taken back either. So
there's probably back end issues with these guys because it's not the typical credit card merchant setup. So, okay, so moving on to the next question, can we get an update on the mobile conversion position? Has development work started, or if not, when is planned to start for Ordinum? The plan at stage 3 on target. What exciting things can we expect in 2024 from this? We haven't seen the details within the plan. What can you share with us? Bit confused about the last part of that question, but who wants
is
to
the first
tackle
part
that?
about mobile gaming? Is that what
Yeah,
we're...
the first part is about mobile conversion position. Has development work started, or if not, when it is planned to start for Ordinum? So specifically related to Ordinum, obviously Matthew sees mobile as being well suited to Ordinum, which it probably is. I'm
will
just
be,
not
yep.
sure whether, the plan at stage 3 on target. I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
Our goal is to get the games into a workable, stable PC game first. And once that is achieved, then the mobile side will be looked at. We're not in a rush to do it. There's massive blocks in Apple and in Android as well on crypto stuff. So like we've got to be careful about just rolling out into mobile. We've got to make sure that we meet all their rules. So it's literally not on our radar right now to do this week, next week. It will be something that will happen probably within the next 12 months. But it's what we're after right now is stable, fun to play games that people can play and go, you know what, that is a good game. And we've achieved that with
Yep.
Nexus. And we're going to have obviously Ordinum's not too far away now. Samuel can speak to that, I think. Where's
Speaking of
Ordinum?
Nexus, I have to jump into a meeting with Nexus. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Okay, no worries,
Thanks.
Nick. Thanks
Have
for
fun.
joining.
Cheers.
Well, we finally have a marketing question. So this is a good one for
Woo!
AJ or Ben to jump in on. The first part of the question, will the AMA be recorded? Yes. So you can watch it at a later time. The next part of the question, is Ordinum still planned to be the next game to launch? If so, what type of promotion is being planned to get eyes on the game?
That is a good question. We've just been focusing on Nexus at the moment until the Ordinum game is out. But it's very easy for us to turn on paid media advertising, specifically around those games that suit the Ordinum ordinance, be it Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, games like that. Very easy to find audiences. So once the game's ready, the marketing will be ready.
Nice.
Yeah. We've had meetings. We've hired a complete media team that Ben's in constant talks with. They're building out like assets and stuff that are ready to go. Once that game is ready, that will be easy to roll out. And as Ben said, we've got very large targetable audiences for that game. So it's a very easy to target segment.
Next question, which I don't know.
Yeah,
We
skip
can
down
answer this
to-
one with bit of fun when price go up. Price goes up when the price goes up. But
Yeah. Actually, let's quickly answer that. Let's just quickly answer that. A lot of people seem to think we can buy the coin and push the price up. Let me just state this as a categorical. Jet and I have had this discussion ever since we started the company. I'd go to Jet and I'd say, what if we just take $5,000 and just push this coin up one tick? It'll find its support again. And Jet has constantly held the line, which he's been totally right, because we've watched it many times, because we literally watch the chart live on our computers all day. So it's like we've got 3 screens, and on one of the screens is our chart, and it's just sitting there all day. And if we push the price up, and we've actually done it, we've actually tested this, if we push the price up, someone will sell into it. All right. If we use company funds to push the price higher, somebody sells into that and takes profit. So it is literally a zero-sum game. So we have learned through experience and through testing that you just leave the price alone. The price, I've got a friend of mine who started his own crypto company not too long ago, and he's on the phone to me yesterday. Literally, his price is falling. He's got to let it go. Just let the price fall. It'll find its level. There'll be a point where the people who are invested in the idea think it's cheap and they'll start buying it. All right. And that's the only thing you do is you work on your community. So like worrying about price is in Andrew Tate's words, you're just a brokey. If you're worrying about price all day, every day, you shouldn't be in crypto. Crypto is a long-term strategy. And the reason we're in crypto is because in stock market, a long-term strategy. I was laughing at this the other day. Mickey and I come from a stock market background. We've invested in stocks and stuff. And in stock market, if you got 10% per year, you were a god. If you're averaging, Warren Buffett was getting 10, 15, 20%.
In fact, that's what the best fund managers in the world get. So,
yeah. Yeah, so if you're getting 10% per year, we've had 1,500% this year. You talk about, crypto versus the stock market. Crypto is the place to be. Bitcoin currently, where Bitcoin is right now, it has averaged, since its inception, it's averaged 140% per annum since it started. And that's including 95, 85, and 78% drawbacks on the 4th year bear markets. So it's still 140% per annum. So the stock market and the crypto market, the reason you're in the crypto market is because the crypto market gives you this massive jump, this high volatility. And if you're knowledgeable, and I reckon it takes 1 or 2 complete 4-year cycles to get to where you understand crypto. And if you're just joining crypto and you think, oh, when's the price going up? This company's not doing anything right. The price goes up and down. It's volatile. It's all over the place. We've got 3 communities in our community. We've got gamers. We've got investors. So traders, investors that are supporting the company. They've bought in to support what we're doing. And then we've got traders that are actually trading the coin. And those traders are not lovers of playable games. They are lovers of the second the price has 10% in it, they take it. And they sell straight into that profit. So, that's the name of the game.
Yeah,
look,
ultimately, it's just supply and demand, isn't it, really? I mean, that's what will drive price. And so what we've got to stay focused on, and it's what we stay focused on, is just creating the conditions that will create demand. So that's all about us bringing out great games and continuing to evolve them and the functionality of the coin within them.
And there's also waves within that as well. So with the crypto market has waves, and when you're a good surfer, you catch the best waves. So we're lining up right now for the biggest wave in crypto history. So it's looking really, we're in the perfect position. We're out the back, and we know the break. So we're looking really good.
A couple of questions from Dog with a Hat around listing on major exchanges and how many projects spend their VC money to help them do that, because the VCs obviously need to get paid. So we know how that works. And of course, they always get paid before the community and everyone else. So I've heard from others.
Or at the cost of.
To know who. Yeah, I heard from others. The price of major exchanges will increase by just 300%. Do you have connections regarding exchanges? How does the process of listing? Is the money the only thing that matters? So I can probably answer that. Look, I don't think I wouldn't say we have connections at exchanges. We're certainly not friends with CZ or similar. The way it tends to work is that the exchanges approach us. We get approached by exchanges probably every day. Some sort of exchange will approach us, or a guy who purports to be from an exchange quite often is not, because it's rife with scammers, that environment as well. And we will appraise every one of those approaches, and we'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at what they're wanting and what they can bring to the table. Obviously, you can see that we are only really looking at serious exchanges now. The exchange that will emerge over the coming week or so is a serious exchange, and that's the way we're dealing with it. We really don't want the little miners and the small exchanges that can't add much puff. We really only want to move to those majors, which I think Old Bull has explained what our approach is on that. Yeah, the money is pretty much the only thing that matters to them. And when I say the money, they're looking for volume. They want coins that have got tokens that have got volume. They want tokens that they can obviously put into their exchange that will make them money, and will generate turnover. And sure, they also take a listing fee for that privilege. Did you want to add anything to that?
Unless you have VCs that can make you direct connections straight to an exchange, we're working on going to some networking events and seeing if that can help us get to the exchange. Like at Token 2049, there'll be exchanges there. They'll hopefully see our stand and stuff, and maybe that'll help us get some connections with exchanges. But that's like making sure you're speaking to the right person is incredibly hard, and is certainly the first step before they ask you for a massive check.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that premise that a VC gets you listed, that to me is very scary, because it's insidious. How is that VC getting you listed? What are they putting on the table for themselves and the listing exchange to achieve that? So don't think that you're not paying for that privilege, and you'll pay a hell of a lot more than when an exchange comes to you, and they want you for the right reasons, not because a VC has sweetened the deal, let's say.
Well, the truth of the matter is that Binance and Coinbase have a set of parameters of how much volume you're supposed to have, how many people in your community. Is the coin actually worth being on their exchange? Like, are they, when regulators look at their exchange and say, what coins you got on there? Does Playable Games do something? Like, those things have bearing. And we're in no doubt that as our community grows and our volume grows, those exchanges will give us the nod to say, please send us your money. All right. So they're obviously in business to make money, and they obviously want good product to put on their exchanges. So are there shortcuts out there in the crypto world? Of course there are. All right. We have never taken VC money, and we have no intentions of doing so. So if that's the sort of project you want to be in, go find them. There's lots of them. So they're a different animal to what we're building. We're building a proper company that Binance and Coinbase will be proud to have on their exchanges when the volumes are right. So we'll get there.
Correct.
And the day will come and you'll wake up and it's like, holy shit, we're on Binance. That will happen, I dare say. Can I promise when? I can't. I don't have the answer right now. But we've definitely moved up. If we use the Gala comparison, where we are now to where Gala was 4 years ago, we have 7 more exchanges than what they had, I believe. It is correct. I'm not quite sure. Jet could probably answer that better than me. But it's 5 or 6 or 7. I think they had 1 right up until when they started listing on the big exchanges. I think they just had the 1 exchange. So I'd have to confirm that. But it's obviously a different market now. The market's evolved a bit more since then. So we were able to get on exchanges a bit earlier. But we have literally followed a step ladder approach. Each exchange we've listed on has helped us get more market share. And we've done that in a systematic way. Our volume's increased each time. And as Mickey said, we've got a new exchange coming this week. Sproggy, you can probably announce what we did yesterday or the day before.
So I was actually planning on dropping that in here, so that's perfect segue. We are on Ethereum on Uniswap. Right after this AMA, we will post links and announce exactly where that is and bridging and everything. But we are now on Ethereum Uniswap with liquidity.
Actually, Jordan, can
Nice.
you do that in the chat? Just make a stat in the chat where they can find that, and
We'll
that'd be
make an
great.
announcement
Thank
after
you.
this,
Yep.
fully explaining it.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Okay, next question. Patriciano actually answered that question to a degree, so we can move on to Patriciano's next question, which isn't really a question. It's a statement about us doing this once a month, which we've already said is something that we're
We are
doing.
going to do. Yep.
Yep. The real question: what are the marketing incentives you guys want to take for max exposure in the hyperbolic phase?
Yeah, I can answer that very briefly. Ben's whole job is to manage. How many people in the marketing team at the moment, Ben? Is it 8?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got 8 people full time in the marketing team, doing a whole bunch of different things. I've said this ad nauseum, and most people forget that Amanda and I both have master's degrees in marketing. So we're not just sitting here pretty faces. We actually do understand how this stuff works a bit. Most people, when they're talking about marketing, are actually talking about advertising. Advertising is piss easy. You get shit tons of money, and you ring up a firm and say, we want to give you our shit tons of money. You get us eyes on. All right? The term is eyes on. How many eyes can you get looking at our project? Ben can spend millions of dollars in a couple of days getting eyes on if he wants to. What we have been doing is building out all the base for that you can't see just by looking around in 5 minutes. We have 400 plus videos done on us out in the YouTube world. We have dozens of AMAs done on us. We have all white papers and things built out that are actually built to answer the questions. We've purposely followed a marketing program, which is so advertising is bought, you just buy it. So when Richard Branson launches Virgin mobile phones in Australia, he spent $6 million in the first weekend. All right, that is advertising. So you are just burning funds to get eyes on. All right, so if we had done that when everyone told us to do it at the end of the bull run, we would be broke.
We'd be out of money.
Out of business. Yep, we would be out of money. All right, because we came down pretty close to out of money in August last year. All right, we were literally down to, we were in our 6-month period of shit. If we don't get more funds in, we're going to have to start laying off staff. So we're well past that now. We're fully funded for the next 2 years. There's no problem without adding another cent, and we're obviously in a bull run now, moving upwards. So, but we were very careful with the money. We will continue to be very careful with the money. And when the time is right, Ben will unleash advertising that will bring eyes on to the project. And the best thing about what we've done is when that money is spent, those eyes will be able to get all their questions answered. All right, because that's what you need. You need to have the pieces in place where when someone starts asking questions. So does our Discord community work properly? That's one of the questions people ask. If you're talking to an expert in crypto, they'll say, go to the Discord, have a look around. Are there people in there that are actually real people, not bots? Are people, I've seen someone say in the chat here, oh gosh, I would have thought there'd be thousands of people or hundreds of people in the AMA. Every person that's in this AMA right now that's having a look, you basically add a 100 multiplier to it to active people in the community. So if you want to learn something about a community, go to their community and have a look at their Discord. If there's 5 people talking regularly in that Discord, they have a community of about 500. All right? If there's 500 people talking in that Discord, they have a community of several thousand. All right? So that's basically, You just times it by 100 is a good way, a good indication of how Discords work. So when I look down, I see all these people actually in this AMA having a look. We've got a very decent community that's actually looking around, staying in touch. So when we add the advertising dollars, it's going to go boom. So, but there's no use doing that, and there's no use firing off all your ammunition when the guy's hiding behind a rock. All right, you got to wait till he's in range and in sight. So we will handle that when we get there.
We've got about 6 questions left and about 6 minutes to answer them in, so we'll do these last ones quickly. I'll combine the next two from Willowbull and Winter Cloud Games because they're sort of a bit linked. For Nexus, will there be seasons where ranks will reset, or will the ranks be persistent forever? And also for Nexus, are loot crates for random skins with variations still planned? Also, are changeable effects and emotes still a plan? I'm not sure whether that's a Sam or
Well,
a
Sam
Jet
could do the
or,
first part, and then Jet could do the second part.
Yep.
Yeah.
So seasons,
we
Sam,
are
are we going to do
definitely-
seasons?
We're definitely planning for seasons and some sort of battle pass. Those things are definitely on the cards. They're not planned or in yet. We don't have the season dates yet. When we have them, we'll announce them. For now, don't fret. We're not gonna change the season in about. We're not gonna say in 3 weeks. Oh, look, the season's changed. Don't worry. Like when we have dates, we will say them. But for now, yes, we are planning 100% seasons and passes. And
Tomorrow, season
loot
2.
crates, who will answer that one?
I can.
yeah, no. Too bad it's not
loot
April Fool's.
crates.
Loot crates are being done in the next patch or two, which will be
They're not called loot crates, though. No.
No,
They're
reward chests, I think.
boxes,
Reward chests.
which will be in the next patch or two, and they will consist of a set of skins that have random traits to them, so they'll look a bit different every time you open a box, and you'll own the boxes by either every week or every couple of days, depending on how many boxes we want to release, and then you need to get a key to open the boxes. And then once you've opened your box, you can trade the skins however you want, use it, trade it, whatever. But there'll be no there won't be a ranked requirement or anything to earn those boxes. They'll just be casual play, and they'll be locked behind a timer.
And
So-
changeable effects and emotes?
Yes.
Are they still a plan?
They're not in the current next 2 patches plan, but they are in the plan later down the line.
Great. The next question, I actually did answer this online, but it's just been put in here. It's a question around the company having safeguards to prevent the type of hogwash, and by hogwash I think that might mean that the founders of the company owned 14,000 nodes or something at Gala. The ownership suits devs.
That was a nice surprise to read that.
Yeah.
I think it's the promises
Yeah,
that they're
Gala-
talking about mainly.
Look, I guess I don't want to guess specifically because obviously it's naming a company, and it's naming a company that we largely modelled this business on. We saw that the opportunity from what Gala, and we've always said this from the start of the business, from what Gala forged. I guess what we didn't know at the time, and Old Bulls told this story many times about the boys buying a Gala node, and they didn't know, just as everyone else who bought nodes at that time didn't know that the founders had 14,000 nodes. So I think the answer to that, and we'll get to that when we talk about the top 5 wallets in the company, actually, which Froggy can answer definitely before we leave. The answer to that question is that it's very difficult to show integrity and the way you act. I think that just as people bailed into Gala thinking that it was something that maybe it perhaps quite wasn't, we can't do anything more than tell people how it is. you can look at our node holders. You can see that there isn't nodes held in large quantities by any individuals or not above 50 or so anyhow. There's certainly no one who owns thousands of nodes in our community, in our leadership, in our founders.
No
so
VCs,
we can
no
state
people.
that categorically. We can also state categorically that we don't owe anyone any money, so we're not, the word I use, puppets on a string, because this is the problem with a company who is funded by either a large founder, a large wealthy founder, or perhaps a VC, is that you need to dance to their tune. We don't have to dance to anyone's tune. The tune that we listen to the most is our community and the people who are going to make this business successful. So that is the gamers and the crypto people who have believed in us, who have taken a stake metaphorically or literally in the business. And that's the people we listen to. That's who matters to us. That's why we're on this call. And that's why, as John said, we're always in this community. We're always watching. We're always looking at the token. We're very engaged and involved because that's what matters to us, not the people who have put the money up, so to speak. So enough said on that
So,
one. I'll
Froggy,
move on because we've got 5 minutes from here.
Well,
So I think that's a good opportunity
Froggy,
for Froggy to answer that last question, and then we'll see if we can
yes.
get to any of these others before we finish. And the last question was the 5 top wallets, again with our friend Dog with a Hat. 5 top wallets have 70% of all bull coins. How many of these wallets are from founders?
So can I just
Zero.
confirm it? Are they founder wallets? Are we rich, Froggy? And we didn't know.
They are not founder wallets. The top 5 wallets that holds that 70% are the lottery, the bridge, so that represents all the coins on Avalanche, the exchanges, so such as Mexi, they obviously have a large custodial amount for you guys who have coins stored in Mexi, and the OTC contract, people who have purchased, a few coins OTC, all that information completely public. One of the things that we have that a lot of, similar companies don't is our node transactions are on chain. You can see who, when, how much of all the nodes forever have been purchased, and on a similar note, all the tokens. So
sorry, can I just write this in chat? So top 5 wallets are 1. What's the first one?
First one is the bridge. So that's the coins
Bridge.
on Trader Joe and on Avalanche.
Second wallet is
Lottery.
That is the lottery, or the hodl comp, I should say.
lottery. Yep. Third.
Third one is an exchange.
Exchange.
I'm not sure off the top of my head which exchange it is. It would probably be Mexi or one of the other big ones.
Could be Big Cat.
Fourth one.
Yeah. The fourth one is our internal supplier, so that pays out P2E and the hodl comp, and also funds
internal
the
treasury, is it?
liquidity for exchanges.
Yeah, company,
Is that-
company
Uniswap,
treasury.
you can. Yep.
I can't
And
spell
the same with
treasury, but
the,
there you go. That's the best chance.
Yep, and the fifth one is the same, just another internal treasury wallet.
Cool. While we're writing that, we'll just see if we can just knock off one more question. We're at 11. We're at 2 minutes to shut down. So I think we
and we've got
choose
another
maybe
meeting to go
this. Yeah. So I think the fifth one is the OTCs, John. I think we choose this one around earning mechanics because I think that's interesting to people. I think Willow Bull has answered the next question anyhow. The earning mechanic remaining the same, playing 1 hour and winning 1 game on ranked mode, or could we see more incentives or a different mechanic?
Well, there's
Will
already
the earning mechanic remain the same?
there's already a main incentive which will be above your tier, but for now we're not changing the 1 hour and 1 win per day. Once you've got your rank, that's all you need to do for now. we're leaving it at
Cool.
that. There will be different
that's neat.
incentives when we add the reward chests in, for sure, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have other
Um,
things that we're thinking of, but right now we're not changing anything.
Okay, well, we're going to have to stop it at 1 minute to go, guys, to say thank you to everyone for joining us. And look, apologies, my chat actually disappeared when we started, so I haven't actually been able to address anything that might have come up in the chat. And to be honest, we didn't have time anyhow. So, but we'll certainly. I don't know whether we can get that chat record because
It should
we
be
might.
recorded on Jet's screen. We'll
Yeah,
go through
okay,
it.
we've
We're
got
going
that.
to do this every 4 weeks. We're going to do one of these, and we're going to release it as the weekly update. So we're going to give the marketing team a weekly, 1 week a month off, and we're just going to release this as the weekly update. This will be released tomorrow morning, our time, and we'll get that up or later today, if Ben can get it done. And it will be released.
We really only
as
missed
the
one
weekly
question,
update.
guys. We missed one question around meme coins from Ricardo, so maybe we can answer that one in the chat or somewhere because we are out of time. We must go.
Yeah, Dad will answer it after this.
Yep.
All right, thanks to everyone for joining us.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.